Salute, everyone. The streets are buzzing. Welcome to the chat show. We'll shout you out. We'll keep it 100 of all nights, certainly tonight, and just healthy Knicks talk. And the chat's already spitting facts. Appreciate everyone watching. Yeah, rough night, rough time of recently. Lot to talk about tonight. Going to get everyone's feelings and thoughts out there. Just disgusting performance tonight. Let's hope we never see this type of loss ever again. And you see the topic of today's show, hit the reset button. We need to reset this thing. There's a glitch, there's a bug. What do you do when your computer's glitching, your phone's glitching? You reset it, right? You reset it. And the New York Knicks need to reset. Straight facts. Salute everyone for the love of the game. Like and subscribe. Salute Heck and a hard will L doing work over there. Appreciate you. Big task. Uh, Hey, you're not the only one, man. Big task tonight, but we'll talk about it. Jet Life, appreciate you. Salute. Drew, season was over. Julius got cooked by Herbert Jones. Hey, it's been rough. This season's it's going downhill every single game, right? It's just going downhill. And we need to hit the reset button ASAP, right? The trade deadline went and passed, as we know. The New York Knicks didn't make any move. Their spin, their MO was that they were going to push forward, whatever, try and make the play in, um, you know, try and do whatever they think is going to, get something out of this season, salvage something. But in fact, they're just going backwards. They're going backwards with this thing. By Tibbs, yeah, his seat's getting hot. Leon's seat's getting hot. Everyone's seat's getting hot right now. And yeah, Drew hit the nail there. Dolan left the game after Cam hit that shot. Yeah, I saw Bondi's tweet, and Tibbs said that everything is on the table, but he's not going to give minutes unearned. Sounds like Tibbs wants to continue with the vets. Yeah, it shouldn't be for too much longer. Free Cam Reddish, absolutely right. That's part of the reset. Jet Life. Um, I don't really know, what they're doing right now, but it's counterproductive. We need to hit this reset button ASAP, right? You see the title and the New York Knicks' strength of late has been through building through the draft, right? We brought in better draft scouts. Walt Perrin leading the ship there for the draft coming up. We've got lots of draft coverage coming up this weekend and next week. As we know, we're at the All-Star break now, and the New York Knicks have time to stew on this mess right now. For changes to come as well. Losses like this don't never come at an ideal time, but for me, that wants to see a organizational pivot, a change. It's come at the perfect time, right? This club, won't play until next week, as we know. But the trade deadline passed, right? We're trying to push for the play in supposedly, but we fall further down the standings now with this loss. And one eye to the future. We need both eyes to the future with the 2022 draft and March Madness around the corner. We have some draft coverage coming up starting tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be doing a live stream with shotquality.com, Simon Gersberg in the house to talk about the March Madness watch list for Knicks fans. So tune in then. It'll be a live stream. Throw your questions in the chat. We'll talk about the college game and preview March Madness. We've got more content on the weekend and more draft coverage next week as well. But we're here to talk about tonight, what's taken place over the last, week or so. The trade deadline passed. The New York Knicks didn't do a thing. They weren't able to do a thing because no one really wanted their assets. Salute everyone in the chat. Drew, salute Big Task, Sherwin, and Eel, salute Free Cam, my boy McBride. McBride went down to the G League, which was, better for development. I'm glad, he didn't have to sit on the bench and witness this tonight. But he's a part of this reset. He's a part of that and getting minutes. Cam Reddish has looked pretty nice when he's had minutes. He needs to play a lot more. And tonight was just another collapse, right? How many collapses of late? A collapse against Portland. Um, you know, collapse against OKC, but tonight took the cake, no doubt. Back home, Madison Square Garden, and I think this club is just, or the vets anyway, have just lost the respect, or not respect, but maybe lost your hunger to compete for Tibbs right now. Playing players out of position, playing players crazy minutes, right? RJ Barrett out, of course, like we know, because he was, on the floor in a blowout, right? Tibbs is copping a lot of heat for that, and he needs to, cop some more heat for some of these rotations. Like Drew says, yeah, everyone deserves equal blame from Tibbs to the players. It's all them collectively. But for me, I'm going to place this at the very, very top, right? Who's the leader of this organization right now, right? There's employees right now doing certain things, running amok, but who's controlling them? Who's at the very top of the organizational ladder right now? You got Dolan, and then you got Leon Rose, William Wesley, who apparently has more power than a lot of people may think. Leon Rose, who's holding these people accountable right now? It's very, very clear this club needs to hit the reset button, right? What good is making a play-in going to do right now, right? We're just counterproductive to the future, so we need to look ahead right now. And Drew says, I think at this point, McBride needs to get playing time. It's clear that Kemba is not working, but we should start Rose when he comes back healthy. And you mentioned Rose, Drew. That's my concern right now. Rose comes back. He's going to help us probably win a few games towards the end of this season. When I'm not for. I'd love to see young players get more experience, but I'm not really for pushing vets to try and win games right now. The New York Knicks sit in ninth in terms of the draft selection right now, and playing these vets probably is helping us lose, no doubt. But regardless, we need to start playing these young players so that they can continue to get more reps. Big task. We lost to a team that's trash, facts, and we'll go on to a 10-game losing streak as well. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and Sherwin, I've been saying for a long time, the Knicks will not win more than 30 games. Tibbs is not good, and the roster is not good as well. Yep, spot on there, Sherwin. Facts. Um, a lot of people did say you were a bit pessimistic at the start of this season, but the season's gone according to exactly the way that you laid out. So respect to that. I'll give respect to anyone who calls it like they see it, but especially when that comes to fruition. Of course, injuries haven't really helped the Knicks this season. The schedule's been tough. All the things that we said and you said, the the start of the season we got out of the gate well, but for some reason that just didn't really look convincing either. And it's the season's gone downhill ever since. Um, but like we said, reset button. The New York Knicks have a lot of draft picks. We have a lot of flexibility in terms of options this summer to try and build up some trade value for some of these players, and also make some trades and and move some of these vets on. Yeah, play the kids 100%. Yeah, facts. And Samanich with Westchester, yeah, he's still hurt, Drew. It's been frustrating. I've been trying to find out online what's going on with Luca, but no word on that. And his injury, right? It's been crazy. I don't even know how much longer the G League season is going to go for as well. So that could play into an account as to how much more minutes Deuce McBride plays, and how they take advantage of the G League right now, because there may not be as many games left for Westchester. And Sherwin says Noel, Kemba, Obi, IQ, Fournier must go. They're not part of a winning team right now. I'll agree with you with Noel, with Kemba, and Fournier. I think IQ and Obi would be still a bit too early to make an assessment on that. Keep them around. They're young players on a rookie contract, Sherwin. Always see what teams are willing to offer, of course. But I'm all for continuing to just play the youth right now and pivot and start building through the draft. The New York Knicks' strength, right? If I asked you guys, you know, what is the Knicks' strength? If we have a strength, what is it? What's the best thing going for this club right now? That's at rock bottom, and I would say our ability to draft. Our picks, the flexibility moving forward with a ton of second round picks. We have all our first round picks. That is the Knicks' number one strength right now, no doubt. And we need to build that way. Hit the reset button. focus on our scouts, our drafting, and continue to build a team around RJ Barrett's timeline. Um, Cam Reddish is here. Quentin Grimes is, for me, has been one of the most positive parts of this season. No doubt one of the most positive parts of this season. Quentin Grimes, Deuce McBride in small flashes. Quickly and Obi have been a little bit underwhelming this season, but they still have a future in the league. You know, let's prioritize that, right? Evan Fournier, I was disappointed we're unable to get out of the contract at the trade deadline, but fingers crossed. He's hoping at the summer that we can move on from Evan's contract. Um, Julius Randle, um, for him, I'm all in favor of trading Julius. If we can get back good value, decent value. If there's no value, we'll just probably have to keep Julius around. Play him as the as a second, third option. If we strengthen the team. But yeah, like Jet Life says, facts drafting. Yep, spot on. That's our strength right now. Jet Life. The Knicks have upgraded their scouting department. Headed up by Walt Perrin. Right, we know he's responsible for drafting Donovan Mitchell, responsible for drafting some other strong players. He's been leading the Knicks draft of the last 2 years, and we do have a lot of picks, and we'll preview more tomorrow with shotquality.com, and Simon comes on at 5 p.m. Eastern time. But the draft class coming up in 2022 is a very deep class in terms of value players in the second round. It's not deep in terms of all-star, superstar talent, but it is quite deep in terms of finding a lot of rotation players, deep into the class. And we'll be diving deep tomorrow night. But tonight, it's all about the Knicks, the state of the Knicks right now, and this rock bottom that we're at. Sherwin says second round picks normally don't play longer than 3 years in the league as well. Yeah, that's the law of averages. But Sherwin, if you do have quality drafting scouts, players that are able to identify those jewels, those dimes. We saw tonight, Cam Thomas, yeah, absolutely took over as well, did his thing, and a big task is on the Kenny train. Kenny Atkinson, yeah, he was my preferred selection. I must admit, I agree with that. Kenny Atkinson would have helped this team in terms of the timeline it was on. Right, Tom Thibodeau was brought in to help the team win now, but the roster wasn't matching that mindset. Right, we were far off, competing. And Sean says, how many power forwards in the NBA are better than Randall as well? Yep, supporting Randall to the, till you know, all the way through is Sherwin, Randall fan. Put up numbers. Randall continues to put up numbers as well. Um, I'm more looking at, and this is no knock on Randall, but I'm looking at the club's timeline, Sherwin, right now. Randall is 27, about to turn 28 next season. He's going to really want to compete and win now soon, right? We need to reset the franchise and go back to playing the youth right now. And wouldn't you want Julius to have a future, with a team where he can compete, try and win right now? Let's see what kind of value Randall can bring us, in the summer. We need to pivot direction. And Mike D, salute. How is it possible that IQ finally got hot and Tibbs waits for the lead to be gone to pull Burks? That falls on Tibbs. He's too stuck in his ways as well. Spot on there, Mike. Tibbs is not having a great season at all. He's having an awful season. Um, highlighted by that blunder the other night. Coaches make mistakes in that, but it's becoming very often with Tibbs right now. And speaking of the roster and resetting, Tibbs is 64 years old. So, does he match this timeline that we're talking about? This timeline of resetting the franchise and building through the draft as well. Troy says salute. Randall is not clutch. Um, that's the problem, Sherwin, and other problems as well too. Sherwin says Knicks should trade the 2022 first round pick for an established point guard. Um, who's the established point guard, Sherwin? Which guard would you like to see this trade go down for as well? And yeah, I am a good player on the Knicks fan. Big task. Yep, he's asking the same question. Who do you have in mind as well? And yeah, Sherwin. Randall is a bit older than Obi. not much older than Obi as well, but it's mainly about the contract as well. Obi is on a team-friendly deal for a couple of years as well, and this ain't no Randall Obi type argument. It's just an organizational situation where we're at right now. We're not ready to compete for playoffs. We're not ready to compete, or barely ready to compete for play-in. Right? We're on a treadmill, stuck, in no man's land right now. Right? We need to just reset and build through this draft. Mike D, they missed RJ out there. Yep, absolutely, they did. Facts, and that's another issue that Tibbs caused. Yep, highlighted by that blunder in where was it, in Denver? Was it Denver? That was a horrible situation that shouldn't ever occur again. But like you said, Tibbs stuck in his ways. Um, has he learned? Has he learned from the past? A lot of people said he's learned a few things. He went around the league a little bit, did some scouting, some coaching, some learning. What has he really learned, right? And you know, in terms of Tibbs and everything he stands for, I got nothing against anything that Tibbs stands for, right? He wants to push players, he wants to win now. I understand that as a coach, right? What coach, a competitive guy who doesn't want to win now? It's unfortunate, but the reality is our timeline of this club is not on Tibbs's timeline, right? He's a great coach for a roster that's ready to push it to the limits, push it each and every night. This club's not ready to do that right now. Right? Last season was a fluke. Straight out, it was a fluke. And Tom Thibodeau's in the wrong situation right now. Salute King. Should Tibbs be gone? Yeah, I think he should be. I think he should. He's not right for this timeline right now. Right, we need to reset this thing. It's getting closer. Right, James Dolan left his seat tonight, as all reports. We know what happens when James Dolan leaves his seats, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need to second guess. Probably, what's going on. He probably went backstage for a convo or two. Not going to say there's going to be some big press conference like last time, but the seat's getting warm. Definitely, the seat's getting warm. When James Dolan gets out of his seat, there's some conversations to be had. And on that note, you know, Leon Rose and the front office didn't make any move in the trade deadline. So this summer is shaping up to be an even more pivotal summer for this team right now, for this organization. When the summer hits and this season's over, there's questions to be made, decisions to be made you on Mitchell Robinson. What to do with his contract. Reports that teams are going to go all in and throw Mitch the bag. There's reports that the Knicks are still going to try to move on with these vets. Evan Fournier. Maybe even entertain offers for Randall. All that. What does that mean for Tibbs? What is he going to stand for with this club trying to move on from all these vets? That he wants to try and win now with. So we have 20 or something odd games left. Tonight could be the breaking point in terms of shifting and pressing the reset button, at least for this season, right? Because this season is an absolute wash. The All-Star breaks here. We've got draft coverage coming up. The New York Knicks need to have an eye on the future, two eyes on the future right now, because anything we're doing right now in terms of trying to win games, with these vets anyway, winning, if the young players help you win games, then so be it. It's good for their development. But winning games with these vets, it's just counterproductive, right? And why hasn't Kemba Walker been bought out yet? Somebody please answer that question for me. And Sherwin says Obi IQ, the 2022 first Dallas for DeJounte. Yep, sign me up for that. That's a good trade if we can get DeJounte. Here's a name that I'm interested in getting here as well. Fits the timeline. Young, plays D. Is a player ascending in this league, Sherwin, as well. So sign me up for DeJounte. King says seems like they've been letting the lead slip multiple games. Yeah. What is that? Is that a reflection on also the coach? The play calling, the ability to motivate the players. Has the message completely worn off now, King, on the ball club, on the roster, on the locker room? Do they respect Tibbs's message right now? Because how do we just get up, let these leads slip, right? It's also on the offense too, read and react. Tibbs's offense is always read and react, but when you ain't got the most cerebral IQ players as well, what does a player do? They regress back to their habits, isolation ball, trying to beat guys one on one, trying to win the game off their own, off their own shot all the time, right? Tibbs' strength, that's another weakness of his, is that he doesn't know when to to intervene during a game, right? Call timeouts at the right time and set up some plays, and his play calling ain't the strongest to begin with. And Mikey D, they should have sold high on Mitch as well. You know what, Mike? I agree with that. I agree with that. It's hard to say without knowing the offers available for Mitch. Thinking that, they probably tried to see what was out there. Detroit's going to go all in on Mitch. I think they're really going to go all in, and some other clubs. I think Toronto. I think Mitch will suit Toronto. New Orleans, his hometown. They're going to go heavy after Mitch as well. So it's going to be really interesting to retain Mitch. We're going to have to pay him the max, or another team is probably going to swoop in, and offer that as well. So you're right in terms of we may lose Mitch for nothing, right? That's another situation that bears watching. And salute G from Puerto Rico. Salute fam. Appreciate you all. Appreciate the love. Hit the like button for Knicks Buzz. And let's keep these streets buzzing. Sherwin M. The Knicks shoot too many 3-point shots as well. That is something that they went on record as well, Sherwin, at the start of this season. And they said, we're just going to shoot more threes, undoubtedly. They weren't going to care about how the looks came, how about the 3-point shots came about. They just said they're just going to shoot as many threes as they possibly can. And a lot of them, we'll discuss more with Simon tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern time, when shot quality comes on the show. We'll talk about whether these 3-point shots the Knicks getting are really good looks at all. Last time he came on, they weren't good looks, and the Knicks are content with just jacking up more shots. Salute D, salute. Appreciate you coming through. And Sherwin says Charlotte's going to eye Mitch as well, right? You guys let me know. Give me all the teams you think are going to go heavy after Mitch, because that's going to be really interesting. Like I said, the New York Knicks need to pay Mitch, or they're going to lose him for nothing, or possibly a sign and trade may have to come about as well. Mitchell Robinson, we know the story. He's switched a lot of agents. He's looking to get paid the bag, which is fair enough. He's been underpaid for so long now. Mitchell Robinson, he's been undervalued, underpaid, and he's going to want the bag. He's going to push for that. His agent's going to push for that, no doubt. And Charlotte's going to be among that list. And a salute, Tone Wu, Garden of Knicks, salute, fam. Let's hit the reset button. Hey, give us your thoughts on where this situation's at. This organization, right? We got 20 something odd games now. Got the All-Star break, plenty of time to think about the future, to decompress. James Dolan left his seat tonight. Leon Rose's phone's probably blowing up tonight. World Wide West phone blowing up. Tibbs's phone's probably blowing up. This situation, this season is spiraled out of control right now. And the only way we can set ourselves back on the right path is to hit this reset button, build through the draft coming up, utilize these next 20 something games, get as many reps into Obi quickly, Grimes, McBride, Sims, Cam Reddish, Star J when he comes back, and get as many minutes into these young Bulls as possible, right? And try to build the most that we can, out of this bad situation this season. And salute Manchild. What's good, fam? What's good? And like Tone Wu says, yeah, as much as we suck, I still believe in this team. Ironically, I can't help it. I'm obsessed with our Knicks as well. Hey, that's just the passion, and the fandom in us. We're the best fan base in the world. It's good to stay positive as well. Tone, we have flexibility moving forward. No doubt. We're not really too cap strapped in terms of these contracts. We may have to touch an asset or two, I think, in the summer to get out of Fournier, get out of some of these teams. But you know, the future can still be bright. We just need to hit the reset button now, I think, and look towards the draft, right? And D says, yeah, the Bulls as well. They're going to be a team, and they were a team, yeah, that reportedly went after Mitch. That's going to be interesting to see as well. A lot of teams flirting with Mitchell Robinson right now. His agent's phone's probably blowing up. He's happy of his recent form late. Let's see what happens with young Mitch. And be civilized, salute. We straight suck. and we rely on ISO way too much. Tibbs is in his cave, shelled up, and back in the 1970s as well. Hey, Tom Thibodeau, it's all about fit for me right now, and we know Tibbs' strengths, don't we? We know he's a coach that is a coach that can get the most out of a vet roster, but when the tires are worn, right, the car is going to fall off track, right? The train's going to come off track, that the car's going to come off the road, without sound tires. And in the situation right now, Tibbs is driving a car with worn tires right now, and it's not the right situation, the right timeline right now. And I could seriously see Tom Thibodeau getting let go this summer if the reset button gets pushed as well. Because you got to think about it. Is he the coach that can develop young players through the draft? No. Is he a coach that's willing to play young players much? No. Is he 64 years old? Yes. Does he want to win yesterday? Yes, he does. So, the timeline don't really match up. Be civilized is heated. We all heated out here. We're here to talk about it. We've got the best chat in the business. Appreciate the love. Please hit the like button for Knicks Buzz, and I will keep this streets buzzing. And Robert Parr, salute fam. Let's just say if you're betting against the Knicks, you'll become a very rich man real quick. Yeah, facts. Right. Especially if you bet on them at halftime. With these leads, we're blowing up like a grenade. Right. Man, the players must have been absolutely gassed as well to come back from that tough road trip. Right. Back at the Garden, Oklahoma City Thunder, ran amok in the Garden tonight. Brooklyn getting up. Oh man, it just I'm still in shock. And Mike D, I'll say whatever they are thinking and giving Mitch Scrap that and give Brunson whatever he wants. I say whatever they're thinking of giving Mitch, scrap it and pay Brunson. Okay, yep, yep. Look, Mitch's value is pretty clear to see as well. I'm torn. I'm torn on selling Mitch high, and also, you know, part of me wants to see what he can become in this league as well. He has growth in him. It's just how much you believe in that growth, and just exactly how much Mitch's game can evolve. But in terms of investing in a guard, we need to do that ASAP as well. We need a point guard in this situation, and Mitch can only reach his ceiling if a point guard is here to get him in his spots right now. Right now, he's just getting straight ignored. And Troy says quickly is horrible. I'm good on him. Selfish losing player. Yet Garden says time to bench the vets. Let's let the kids play 100 facts. Salute Tone. And Robert says Tone, what's good, my guy. Yep. And to be honest, don't think Fournier is the problem. We need to shed Randall, Walker, Noel, and I think we'll be fine as well. Yep, yep, absolutely. We need to shed Noel. We need to shed Walker ASAP, right? Kemba Walker needs to be bought out tonight. No doubts about it. We still have, we could free up a roster spot and, look at the waiver wire as well to see what's out there. Yep, and Manchild says Dolan should step in and fire Tibbs as well. You may just get that wish, if this reset goes ahead. There's going to be some interesting conversations had right now and tonight, ladies and gents, with this situation. When James Dolan leaves his seat, we know something's going to happen, don't we? Tone says Fournier plays well with the young guys, in my opinion, and he's not selfish at all. Yeah, I think Fournier's biggest thing counting against him is his D. Fournier's okay on offense. He could get things going. He can shoot. He can pass. He can, get guys involved. You're right. He's unselfish. I just think he's not fitting in right now due to his D. We let Reggie go. Reggie's defense is sorely missed. And you see it when Star J Barrett's out of the squad, right? Just how much we rely on RJ's D now. That's a huge credit to RJ's defense, and how much he's grown in that regard, and how bad we are at, keeping leads without RJ. Another go-to guy that can get to the cup, put pressure on the defense, and also a guy that can defend, a best perimeter defender, closely in front of Quentin Grimes. And Troy says, let Walt Perrin and Brock Allah run the front office as well. Yeah, great comment. I'm glad you put that out there because it's timely with this reset, Troy. Walt Perrin is leading the draft, And Brock Aller is having a huge say in personnel and trade decisions, right? He's trying to push against Tibbs from all the reports. Brock Aller is trying to convince Leon, hey, these are the moves we need to keep out of. These are the moves we need to do, in order to keep flexibility, right? Brock Aller is a numbers man. He's a numbers genius, right? Um, Brock Aller, no one's seen a photo of him. I don't know if he's a myth or whether he's real, but the talk is that he's a numbers guru and he knows what's going on. So, two smart basketball minds, right? We talked about it with Mark Berman in terms of Leon and World West, kings of the agent world. Walt Perrin and Brock Aller, they're kings of the front office and basketball, b-ball world in terms of finding talent, right? And I want to ask you guys a question. Is your confidence in Wes and Leon lower than what it was before the season? We thought these guys, are connected. Yes, we're confident they could, utilize and identify the right moves and talent. But are these guys just specializing in agent world a little bit too much, in connections too much, and struggling with with the trades and the other talk, handling the calls, and like Scott Perry as well. Scott Perry couldn't do too much at the trade deadline as well. His phone was frozen. And Sherwin says Brunson's a backup. Yeah, Brunson's got his haters and he's got his supporters as well. Well, not necessarily haters, but people know what they know what Brunson's ceiling might be. That's going to be another interesting thing. We know Leon's got the connections. Do the New York Knicks go back to those connections and go back to that well and hope that Jalen Brunson is that dude? He's older as well. He's a little bit older, but hey, we need that point guard. We need a floor general, ladies and gents, in the worst way. And Robert says, so how much did the Nets pay them fans to chant for them? Didn't hear them from those so-called Net fans until late in the game. Yeah, yeah, straight facts, Robert. D says, I can't even get mad anymore. This ish is becoming comical. Me too. I agree. I haven't been really watching closely the last 5 games, to be honest with you, because I know Tibbs is trotting out the vets each and every day, and I just really want to see the other guys play a lot more now. And I'm starting to focus a lot more on the draft. March Madness Knicks watch list coming up tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Stay locked in, and we'll talk about some of these prospects as well. And let's see, Tom Thibodeau may not even be around, so the New York Knicks may be more prioritizing this draft class. And Sherwin says we can get better than Brunson as well. Well, let's see what the front office can do. Let's see I don't have as much confidence as I used to have in these guys. And no thanks on Brunson, and no more vet signings from Troy. And a Be Civilized Mike Miller would have done probably a better job than with this squad as well. In terms of motivational stuff, Mike did a pretty good job salvaging the end of that season as well. But we need someone for development as well. If we're playing these young players, we brought in the Kenny Paynes, Johnny Bryants, and all that. Those are the guys that need to start developing and bringing these young players forward. Grimes, Cam Reddish, Deuce McBride as well. And I certainly don't want to see Nerlens Noel play any more minutes, right? Why doesn't Jericho Sims play more? And I salute Jonovan, salute. He says fire Tibbs. Yep. Hey, the Wolves, the knives are out. This is going to be really interesting because there's going to be a lot of time to talk. Now that there's the All-Star break, the New York Knicks hit rock bottom at the exact time when there is a huge break, right? There's going to be back page news, rumors swirling. Every dog and his cat is going to have an opinion on what to do now this for the rest of this season with this All-Star break. And it's going to be everyone's seats heating up. Facts, Manchild, Fire Tibbs, highest Jerry Stackhouse as well. Yeah, Stack is overdue for an opportunity, right? He's been thereabouts for so long, right? Who's going to give Stack that chance? Yeah, Robert says, what's the deal with this super 10-day contract guy we keep keeping on the bench? Maybe there's something we're missing, right? I just think it's a connections thing, Robert. He's a serviceable guard, right? I just think he's there to keep the seat warm. If there's reports that if the Knicks are interested in a buyout candidate, then that 10-day guy, Ryan Archidiakonu, will be out the door as well. And Sherwin, yeah, makes a point that Kemba is an expiring contract, and we can get the most for him in the summer as an expiring contract as well. So yeah, maybe that is the right thing to do in terms of Kemba's contract, but maybe Sherwin, we shouldn't be playing him right now as well. If we are going to keep him, sit him on the bench for me. And I salute G Money, salute fam. Knicks are choking away leads with RJ. Knicks were choking leads with RJ. G Money says no excuses as well. Nets didn't have KD, Ben, and Kyrie yet. Facts, right? We're heated. Um, for me, I've posted, it's a loss that I'm okay with because this season's been a wash for me for more than a week now, guys. I still watch the game, still love the team, still support, but it's hard right now. It's hard seeing Alec Burks run the point. There's no future in that. We're running out lineups with no future with Kemba Walker out there. We all know now he has no future with the New York Knicks, right? Why are we still playing him? The trade deadline season's been come and gone already. Right now, it's clear, like they said, they've been chasing the play-in, but that's ridiculous right now. You know what I mean? The vets can't even get it done against the rebuilding OKC. Right? We can't even get it done against the G League net squad. If that doesn't tell you to hit the reset button, nothing does. And salute Bonson. Season is essentially over. Though last year was fun, we overachieved. We need to focus on developing our young talent and drafting impact players. Keep Mitch. Athletic bigs are hard to find as well. I agree with what you said, Bonson. I'm okay with keeping Mitch too. I think the contract he's earned that. It'd be a reasonable contract if you believe in Mitch's upside, his future, and what he stands for as well. I think he's no doubt going to go for the biggest contract out there, and it's going to be interesting to see. And as a good segue, what Manchild is saying is, too many chefs in the kitchen right now, and who's for what, who's making decisions, who's putting their foot down right now. It's crazy. And on that note, Gerson Rosas, the new consultant, has been brought in as well. Reports that James Dolan welcomed this move or encouraged this move to happen, right? Because he's probably a little bit concerned, possibly. For me, it's hard to believe. Right. I don't believe that Leon Rose would be behind bringing in another consultant, right? How many presidents, inexperienced presidents, do you feel would bring in another experienced guy to work with them? It just reeks of a James Dolan move as well. So could he be the next dude in waiting, right? Could this move be done to put pressure on this front office, right, to bring in that experienced Rosas dude? And Tone says we clearly had tonight's game won and then smoked it. I'm starting to think the guy's trying to sell out Tibbs to push him out because he clearly lost the locker room as well. Facts, Tone. I could definitely see that happening. You're right, because yeah, how many players play hard at the start of a game and then just give it up like that, right? It's just yeah, it was absolutely bewildering tonight, man. Um, especially against the rival like the Nets, G League squad. And G Money says this mountain sound crazy, but Mike Breen should have given Cam Thomas a bang call when he drilled the cold-blooded. Oh man, this is crazy. We love the New York Knicks, but what we're witnessing again from last season to this season, man, talk about roller coaster. It's been quintessential roller coaster of climbing up and then just free falling, right? Free falling. We're in free fall this season, and a lot of it has to do with chemistry. Like all the chat, we've been saying, right? You have to pinpoint some percentage on talent, but also chemistry. This roster just never had the right chemistry to begin with, right? Say what you will for their shortcomings, but Alfred Payton and Reggie Bullock, were a bit more of a glue, guys in terms of keeping Randall in check, right? Keeping Randall in check. They were his best friends on this team, and that says a lot for the chemistry. And B says here, whoever constructed the roster needs to be thrown off the Brooklyn Bridge. Leon Rose quotes as well, starting to find a lot more pressure on Leon now, guys. Ladies and gents, I was always not too high on Leon, but I was willing to give him a chance. It was a signing lauded. Let's see what happens. A smart basketball dude from the agent world, knows a valued contract or two. I was willing to give Leon a fair shot, but it's been a couple of trade deadlines, been a couple of off seasons, and it's been the same story, right? No free agents want to meet with us. Um, he hasn't really, you know, put us in awful positions either, but at the same time, he hasn't done anything. At the same time, a lot of these moves were moves that you and I could have made, right? We could have called Evan Fournier's agent and offered him the bag. We could have called Alec Burks and said, "Hey, do you want to come back for round two?" You know, we could have called Nerlens Noel agent and say, "Hey, do you want us to give you more than what you're really worth?" Um, Derrick Rose, family ties there. So this situation, man, this front office, they're on the clock. They're all on the clock, right? And don't get me started on Worldwide Wesley. What the heck is he doing right now? Um, he's got an official title. He's got connections. He's there for the Kentucky connections with Kenny Payne as well. But what's going on with Worldwide West right now, right? James Dolan, is he just stealing James Dolan's money like Phil Jackson was as well? So all these questions are going to be answered soon enough. I feel a shake-up coming up. I feel a reset coming up right now. The New York Knicks' strength, going back to the title, is our draft picks right now. We have all our first-round picks. We have smart draft dudes, in the front office. Walt Perrin. We have Brock Allah, smart basketball minds, and we have a plethora of second-round picks as well. And we're on a different timeline, right? Where we're reaching a fork in the road where we have some vets at a certain age with Tom Thibodeau, and we have a whole heap of young players going the other direction right now. So there's too many cooks in the kitchen. We need to pick a direction. G Money. Tibbs is stubborn, makes no adjustments. He just stuck in his own ways and doesn't want to adapt. I don't respect that from Tibbs as well. Yeah, I don't respect that either. G Money as well. Facts, spitting facts with that. Tom Thibodeau again. Um, he has his pros and he certainly has his cons. And his cons are he wants to win ASAP. And this roster is just not where it needs to be. It's not built on that situation right now. And he was fooled into last season. Tom Thibodeau was fooled into thinking, yeah, I could push this squad. I could squeeze a little bit more juice out of it, yeah, and get it a little bit further than what it was. But no, yeah, he didn't realize that the rest of the league improved as well. We need to reset. Yeah, and salute facts. Yeah, Mike Miller was doing good. Yeah, another developmental coach we passed on with Kenny Atkinson, fam. And G says, yeah, play deuce at the point. What do we got to lose? We don't got to see Kemba no more. We don't want to see Kemba no more, right? And if I keep seeing him smiling on the court, man, that's just going to make me upset even more. Kemba Walker, it just seems like he's just enjoying himself way too much, right? He's still getting the 30 mil from OKC or 23 mil from OKC, 8 mil from us. Like, and I'm not going to say I predict the future or nothing, but when Kemba had that big press conference at the Garden, I just noticed something was just a little bit off. I don't know if you guys felt the same thing. When Kemba Walker had that big presser at the Garden with Evan, right? It was all talk about Kemba. It was no talk about the respect of the last season's team. There was no talk about Julius, nothing. It was just all about Kemba, thinking he's going to come up here and light it up, right? He's another player where his mind doesn't understand where his body's at right now, and I don't expect Tibbs to get fired. It's going to be interesting. I think Tibbs can still get fired in this off season. I think if this continues, this losing, I think it can happen. But what would I expect it to happen? You're right. Probably I don't expect it to happen because the money. James Dolan. For him to eat another contract, man, he's just finishing paying Joakim Noah. He just finished paying Phil, and for him to have to pay Tibbs again, that's going to be crazy. I just don't know how this situation is going to play out. But the roster's not where it needs to be for Tom Thibodeau to continue, right? Either that or Leon needs to sit him down and say, hey, you'll stay as the coach, but only on the fact that you play these certain guys. And I salute Elton Lee, salute fam. Hope you're well. We have agents trying to run an NBA franchise, and they are struggling as well. You hit the nail on that, Elton, as well. They're learning baptism by fire, aren't they, right now, right? No experience running a team, let alone the most valuable team in the league. in the Mecca, the spotlight, the cauldron, New York City, right? These guys, why do you think they're having to bring in more consultants, man? 1 year from now, we'll bring in another consultant to consult Rosas, so he can consult Wes, so Wes can consult Leon, Leon can consult someone else. I mean, this thing just reeks of incompetency right now. Too many cooks in the kitchen, right? We've got about 8 cooks in a tiny kitchen, a tiny little cafe kitchen right now. It's crazy. And someone owes me a favor. Yeah, salute hire Sam Cassell as a head coach. A lot of talented coaches in waiting, ladies and gents. Um, you know, and I'm all for exploring that. If we hit the reset button, hopefully, and continue to build around this draft, right? And if there isn't a blueprint to look at Cleveland, look at Detroit, look at OKC. They waxed us just a couple of days ago, right? That is a blueprint. It's okay to build through the draft. That's how Golden State built their dynasty, wasn't it? That's how San Antonio did it, right? How long have we been trying to just sign free agents and microwave this thing right now? We would have done 2 rebuilds, 3, 4 rebuilds in quicker time than what we've been trying to do this microwave thing. And our choice is 5 games away from the fourth overall selection. Keep tanking. Yep, facts. Tankathon is on, baby. Yeah, I'm on that train as well. Yes, it hurts me to say, and I don't want to see this team lose every night when I'm watching the games, which is why I just switch off. I want to see the young players play and develop, but we're just so close. The season's almost coming to an end. Well, why pick up these meaningless wins right now with RJ Barrett hurt? These vets struggling, they're just going to will us on to a better pick as well. Right now, the Knicks are in ninth selection, um, and it could get even better than that. And like I said, we'll break it down tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be showing you a March Madness Knicks fan preview, prospects to watch, tune in live stream. We'll pull your questions up on the screen as well with Simon from Shot Quality as well. We'll be going through advanced analytics and the stats of these prospects for March Madness to look out for, and it's going to be fun, right? We've got a week with no Knicks games, so let's keep our eyes on the future right now and reset this thing. Man, child, the tank is on in full motion. Just embrace it. Yeah, we've been here so many times, haven't we? Right, we're used to this as New York Knicks fans right now. Um, Last season was nice. It was a nice little, you know, uh, fork in the road in terms of one season to experience that winning. The playoffs, and it was good for RJ. It was good for Quickly, good for Julius. It was good for Toppin. It was good to play some playoff games as well. But let's go back to the norm and trying to build this thing organically. G says, with RJ and Rose, we lost to the Magic twice, the Pacers twice, and RJ lost to the Pels as well. Yep, definitely. And Bonson, Leon, and Wes had the same recognition coming in, and we thought we were set. But so far, they've underperformed acquiring talent. Yep, that they have as well. And look, they've shown restraint too, so their decision making isn't the worst as well. They just haven't been able to land, build talent, bring in talent, and they may be a little bit set in their ways too much as well. Right? We know when someone's job's at stake, they start to get, make some panic moves, and situations like that. And they're so close to Tom Thibodeau, right? I want to see them really, put themselves out there and make the hard calls because Tom Thibodeau is not in the right situation for this roster. Gee, money. If I were TNT, ESPN, NBA, I would flex the Knicks off the schedule because no one wants to watch stupid ball and show teams like the Cavs, Suns, and teams who play smart ball as well. Yeah, I was thinking that too, G Money. I'm like, the Knicks, if you guys don't know, the Knicks, like, next, I don't know how many, 6 to 8 games are all on national TV, right? And it's at the wrong point of the season, right? They thought after last season the Knicks were going to be good this season, but a lot of us were wrong. But this season's a wash, and it's okay to flip and look ahead to next season right now as well. RJ Barrett, that's been a nice positive this season for me. Quentin Grimes, Mitch. There's been plenty of positives. Deuce's flash potential. We've got all our first round assets. We didn't attach an asset just to get out of Burks and Fournier at the trade deadline. So, we have some flexibility to maneuver and wheel and deal. Let's see what these dudes can do, right, with their backs against the wall. Sherwin, I'm sorry, but I'm hoping for Randall to come up with a problem that will keep him out for 20 games. Without Randall, we will not win one more game this season, and I don't want to win any more games as well. Yep, facts. However way it happens, Sherwin, I'm all for it. Let's just play the young players, play Julius with a bunch of other vets. We're still going to lose. Have you seen the schedule, Sherwin? The schedule's brutal. I'm not worried about the New York Knicks winning too many games. The tank is on. It's in full flight. And be civilized. We freed up cap space, had the most bucks for what? Just doesn't make no sense at all. Yep, absolutely right. That's why I say build through the draft even more. Because what free agents are coming here, right? It's been a trend now, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. We've had cap space, but no one's taken our meetings, right? You know, um, dudes like undrafted dudes like Fred Van Vliet don't even want to meet with us, right? Washed up dudes like Kyle Lowry don't even want to meet with us, right? It's insane. We couldn't even sign Mike Conley when he was available, right? We just need to build through this draft, right? Build these next studs. RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, maybe Donovan Mitchell. Watch that situation. Watch out for Cat and watch out for Luca when the Mavericks want to blow things up. Let's just stay patient, build our stock up, and then look pretty for when that next big stud wants to make their shift, right? And we look like a pretty destination right now, right? Right now we look like an ugly destination, so no one wants to come here. And our brother, salute. As you know, I definitely saw the results, but I'm glad I didn't watch this stupid game every single week. So no matter I watch it, I never think what happens. Just end the season for the Knicks. Yeah, brother, I've not been really watching the games too closely, but I keep a little peek what's going on. But tonight, I don't blame any Nick fan for still supporting and riding and dying each and every whistle. But like tonight, right, it's just a gut punch, right? To watch these kind of games, the OKC game, if you watch ball for enough times, you can see when a roster just ain't it, and also whether the roster's playing hard for the coach. And this team's just not playing hard. Tom Thibodeau's message is been lost, right? And this squad has too many shortcomings, right? They lost respect. There was already talk early in the season they lost respect when Kemba Walker was benched. Was straight benched. Um, Players didn't like how that was handled. They didn't like how Randall was not kept accountable. Kemba Walker was made accountable, but other players weren't made accountable. Um, I think a lot of these players are just going to flat out turn their back. Alec Burks is forced to play, a whole game as point guard. All sorts of craziness going on right now. Deuce McBride getting reps with the G League. That's a positive right now. But he needs to play regular minutes, pretty soon. And Sherwin says Tibbs shouldn't be fired, but the front office should go to jail for grand larceny in the first degree. I disagree with the Tibbs, but I agree with the second point right now. They're stealing money from James Dolan, I think, for their performance, right? I'm evaluating their performance to date right now. I told you I'd give Leon a pass. I'd give him a chance after last season, see what he could conjure up, see what he could cook up. William Wesley and that we ain't heard nothing. Crickets. No statements after the deadline. They don't even meet with the media. They don't respect us fans. They don't put out no word what's going on. They're cowardice right now. As Stefan Bondi said to me, the front office is cowardice. Salute Keith. If you fire a coach, it's best to do it before the draft. 9 times out of 10, Tibbs will be fired after All-Star break or immediately after the season. Yeah, I think that's a real possibility. I wouldn't be shocked if Tibbs stays, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's fired at the summer as well. I think he's going to last the season, definitely. I don't think, it makes no sense to fire Tibbs right now, with 20-something games to go. But Leon probably needs to, make him a lame duck and say, hey, sorry, this 10th seed or whatever you're hoping for, play the young players and let the chips fall where they may. Manchar, we don't know how to tank either as well. Facts. I'm having nightmares, right, with Derrick Rose coming back with, say, we win the 8 out of the last 10 games with Derrick Rose. I mean, that's just going to mess up our situation as well. So this club, it always picks around the 7 to 8, 9, 10 range. Ain't nothing going to change this season with that because we won too many games already. But it's a pretty deep first round. If we could select in the first round around the seventh, hopefully wish that we can get up in the draft lottery. We'll be doing some tankathon simulations tomorrow night as well next week, and just see whether the Knicks can jump up into that top 4 as well. But yeah, salute Oroku Saki. It's a real shitty draft though. It's shitty in terms of superstar potential, top 5, top 10 superstar potential, but it's got depth. It's got depth in the second round. It's got some prospects, some guard prospects, some wings. Let's break it down tomorrow night. We've got plenty of time, but yeah, it's lacking some superstars. This draft class, no doubt. D says front office is banking on a certain player this offseason, and it's going to blow up in their face. Yeah, they need more plans, right? Their plan, I don't know whether it's plan B, C, or D, but Kemba Walker, right? The fact that they couldn't get a more viable option than Kemba, that's just craziness. Yeah, we end up winning more meaningless games toward the end of the season just to jeopardize the draft class facts. Once a Knicks salute, Leon needs to speak and say something. Absolutely. The time is up, right? The jig is up for Leon, right? Come out and say something. And similar situations, James Dolan left his seat tonight. Last time he left his seat, we know what happened. He made, Steve Mills and he made Scott Perry put on that presser right now. Is he going to force Leon to say something now? Right. The media, the New York Knicks back page, the speculation's going to be at fever pitch right now with this loss, right? I mean, the Portland loss, let's break them all down. That was horrible. The OKC one was unfathomable. That was even worse. And tonight was by far the worst I've seen, you know, on our home floor to Brooklyn Nets, right? Key says, you want your new coach. To be honest, I would fire Tibbs tonight. The quicker, the better. Um, hey, I wouldn't be mad. I'm going to be honest with you. Good take, but blowing things up, mid-season's always going to be tough. By all accounts, this team's really seriously looking at a shake-up in the off season, and I'm for that. Press the reset button. Like Alton says, when D Rose comes back, he'll push us into the play-in game as well. Oh man, that's just going to be interesting. We know we're only 3-4 games out of the play-in as well. That's the excuse that Tibbs is clinging on to. When he's talking to Tibbs, when he's talking to whoever, right? We're so close to the play-in still, but for what? Man, it's just same old Knicks, right? Craziness again. We can't pick a direction, right? We're going to continue to push for the 8th or the 10th seed, or we're going to finally press the reset button and try to build something sustainably, right? Derrick Rose is on his last legs as well. He's 33 years old, coming off ankle surgery, pushing him into the ground as well. That he could possibly break down again. We make the play in and he breaks down again. That'd be a sad story. Bonson, what's frustrating is there were times when Tibbs played the bench and they were on fire, and he had Deuce at the point with IQ, Obi, Grimes, Jericho, and then Puff. He never played him again. Why? Who knows why as well, Bonson. I just think he's not a fan of some of these young players. Tibbs, he wants to win every single game, every minute. He's just a basketball junkie. He's got no patience. And Alton says, yeah, if we lose 5 straight national TV, somebody has to go. Yep, facts, right? There's a shake-up coming, Alton. 5 straight national TV. They just need to take us off national TV, right? We're not deserving of it right now. Facts, right? We're frozen. And G Money, Rose will not be 100% either. Yeah, coming off ankle surgery, and the Wiz Hornets or Hawks will start to turn things around. Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of teams going certain directions, but this New York Knicks team, they need to pick a direction, right? And it needs to be resetting. Um, build through the draft, continue to play Quentin Grimes, 35 minutes. Do you guys agree with me in terms of what's your biggest positive for this season? Yeah, if you have to pick a positive, the biggest positive so far, um, whether you think it's our potential draft pick coming up. I just certainly didn't expect us to be in the lottery again. It's looking like that's going to happen. And I salute Big Bo. It's a shame that Jeff and Mark knows the roster and what moves to be made. Then Tibbs clearly they see this embarrassing for the Knicks and ready for that phone call. I think Tibbs is just too connected to the situation to really see it for what it is. Whereas Mark and Jeff can see things from further back, when like us, we're watching things on replay, we're watching things from afar, and we can see just how much this thing ain't working, right? And Tom Thibodeau is just too stubborn. He's too connected to last season's success to let it go, right? He's a bitter old man, old coach that still believes, and I always say this, Tibbs is good for a roster that he can believe in, a roster that can push for him, because he does get the most out of a team, but he's just in the wrong situation right now. Tibbs will die for his squad. He believes in his players that much to continue to play Burks and Randall till the wheels fall off. But yeah, he's just way too stubborn. It's probably why the dude hasn't, he's not married, not speaking for someone's personal circumstance, but Tibbs is married to basketball and he's married to vets. Keith says, to be honest, I would fire Tibbs tonight, get it over and done with, and get the interim coach to see what he can do with the second half as well. Um, who would you think? Yeah, and like Tone says, would it be Johnny Bryant? Would it be Mike Miller? Someone else? Try to get Patrick Ewing in here. Get someone from the college game. You know, um, yeah, it's going to be a huge failure for Leon Rose too. I think if Tibbs goes, does Leon Rose have to go? Let me ask you guys that. Right, Leon Rose made his first selection. He ummed and ahed. It was a huge hire. He went for the dude that he knows. Every cat and his dog knew he was going to pick, but they just waited and waited. They finally gave Tibbs the job, but it hasn't worked out. Yeah, for Leon Rose. Salute RC Creative. How can you expect a good meal from Tibbs when this is the groceries that you gave him as well and no point guard? Yeah, that's a fair argument as well, RC. Absolutely fair argument. Tibbs has a bad roster. He's not making the situation any better either. It's just a unfortunate product of where this timeline is at right now. Guys, we thought this roster, or they thought it was closer to winning than really what it was. And now we're stuck with Tibbs that wants to play everybody, heavy minutes. Um, and I can understand they wanted to make that push right up until the trade deadline, but we're at a situation now, right? We've seen three of the worst losses we'll see ever, and you know, a decision needs to be made now. And a Daras, salute, peace, all. Appreciate the love. Please hit the like button for Nick's Buzz, and let's keep the streets buzzing. Johnny Davis. The only thing with Tibbs is that this is not his fault. We lost so many games due to the stupid turnovers and the poor shooting from the stripe. So yeah, there's been many things, Johnny, with this season. It's been crazy, right? We've lost, a lot of close games early in the season where we underestimated the opponent. A lot of close heartbreakers. We couldn't come up clutch down the stretch, and there were games, we couldn't shoot well from the stripe, and a lack of composure and leadership without a point guard. All of the above, I believe, as well. I think the recent losses, you could separate the two. The bad losses early in the season were just a failure to execute. I think these capitulation losses speak to a bigger thing. You know, the tiredness of the squad. Playing heavy minutes. Tibbs's message wearing thin. And yeah, you guys are on fire. Salute to everyone in the chat. Coming out strong after a horrific loss like this. But it's Wednesday night. We're heading into All-Star break. We've got plenty of coverage coming your way. Draft coverage tomorrow night, 5 p.m. We've got more coverage on the weekend. More guests coming through next week, and we're going to keep this thing popping. Brother says definitely, but I'm glad I'm feeling better. I just end it already, no matter what. Besides the front office, is the one who's the issue, and Leon Rose never find the perfect players since the off season. Yeah, absolutely. And Manchild says, I wish Randall could demand a trade. And I think that's a realistic possibility, Manchild, after one more season, in terms of more a mutual conversation being had between the two. Because, we all know what Julius really looks like as well when RJ starts to take over. And I think there's been times when Randall's handled it well, and there's times when he's looked a bit confused. He doesn't really know what the organization's doing. I'm sure for whatever you say about Randall, he didn't expect to take a pay cut, for this roster to not make upgrades, right? So I give Julius credit for taking the contract, the pay cut. He could have bet on himself. Maybe he didn't, fully believe in himself, but for that situation, I could see Randall, having a conversation with the front office and saying, "Hey, just ain't working out." And Duras spitting facts. Let's just chill, relax, and enjoy these hard-fought losses. Yep, hit the reset button, Duras. Let's just keep an eye on the draft, keep building through our strengths, um, but shift things up with the rotation, right? Keep, you know, continue to play, Grimes more minutes, give RJ minutes when he's back, reduce Julius's minutes, play Mitch all that he can handle, play Deuce out there as well. And B's asking, what's our direction? To be honest, Leon, don't even know. Too many cooks in the kitchen again. B and chat, everyone. Um, who's going to man up and really make those calls, right? You really see the difference between a experienced president, don't you? Leon Rose, an amateur president, a first-time president. Has he been in these tough situations before where he has to make the hard calls, right? Firing one of his best friends. Is he going to be able to do that? Let's see. Worldwide West, just how much control and power does that man have? Right, it's ridiculous. Gerson Rosas now, an experienced consultant up in here. What's going to happen, right? James Dolan, leaving his seat, right? He knows what's going on, but he's probably going to have to put the kibosh on someone if they can't help themselves. He's going to have to help them for themselves. Once a Nick, Utah, Lakers, Portland, OKC, and BK. We had the lead going into the third, lose with no adjustments and insanity, quote, JVG. Absolutely right. It's clear for everyone to see this train, this car, this boat, whatever, is off track, has no engine, and it's going nowhere right now, right? Like I said, Tom Thibodeau is just too stuck to the situation. He's too close to the players. He's in the locker room. Last season, a lot of these vets were with him, pushing the blood, sweat, and tears for the fourth seed. He's not going to give up on these vets, right? It's ingrained in him. It's to a fault, right? Someone needs to rescue this dude and correct this dude ASAP. Bonson, I agree. The players have stopped playing for Tibbs. One reason is why Tibbs started this tenure, saying all the players will earn their minutes on the floor, which has been farthest from the truth so far based on his actions. Yep, that's been one of the biggest problems, Bonson. Like I said, there's a divide in the locker room between the Tibbs staunch followers, the supporters, and the other players that are just rookies. They're young players. They're too good to become malcontents. But they're certainly upset. I could picture that. I've heard reports Deuce McBride's not happy. He's seeing Grimes get lots of minutes. He's thoroughly deserving of minutes. He's not getting none. He wasn't happy. Also, players weren't happy with how Kemba Walker was treated early in the season. And then why was Kemba Walker put back in the rotation again, right? Was it Leon's decision to put him out, Tibbs' decision, and whose decision was to override them? There's just too many cooks out here. D says RJ Grimes been the only real positive this season. Yep, and I'll add Mitch as well. I'll add Mitch and a sprinkle of Deuce as well, just because I think we haven't even really seen Deuce much, but I think I've seen enough of Deuce to know that for a 36th pick, the second round selection, he's a keeper and he's worth holding on to and developing, and he's going to be a rotation player. So I'll add Deuce and I'll add Mitch to that. Mitch's trade value could be sky high. Maybe we get something out of a sign and trade, or maybe we keep Mitch as well. Um, Manchild, I'll drive Tibbs to Connecticut where he belongs. Facts. Duras runaway tank, full express right now. fully armed, ready to blow things up. And Leon hired his buddy to coach. Wasn't a fair process. These are the consequences of that. Absolutely. Like I said, um, they went through a process. Let's let's say it what it was, but we don't really know what the process involved. They probably just for PR they wanted to interview a few people, right, just to show that what they were trying to do. But Tom Thibodeau was always going to get the job. He was the right man for the job last season. Leon's to blame partly as well. They signed Evan Fournier and Kemba, right, and they made Tibbs a lame duck, right? Because the thing is, no one would be calling for Tibbs's head if Leon and that had signed the right free agents. Let's go a sliding doors moment, and let's say we signed DeRozan or Lonzo or you know someone else, Kelly Oubre or some other of these vets that help us win. Let's say we're in the 8th, 7th, 6th seed, you know, and Leon, sign those players. No one would be calling for Tibbs's head. But the sliding doors moment is that the front office gave Tibbs these players that haven't worked out, and they've put him in this situation now where he's a lame duck as well. So they're all to blame, right? They hired their guy, and they're also putting him in a bad situation because they made these signings, right? These lack of signings, and the Nerlens Noel signing just looks horrible. Once a Nick, we have a point guard in Deuce, which is a legend in the G League, but he gets no burn as well. So far, he's getting plenty of burn in the G League. I'm not sure. I said it before, when the G League season finishes up, but I think it's going to finish up pretty soon. And I think, Deuce is probably going to have to be back with the main club as well. Let's hope. And all these deficiencies are a reflection on the coach as well. Yeah, facts. Yep, facts, fix. I can see that as well. Yeah, a lot of people are to blame. Not trading Randall unless, unless he really f's up. And a brother, exactly. Besides, I got to watch the All Star and support Obi in the dunk contest. Let's reset, start over from a new beginning, find players, good coaches, and get the draft, find the right way. Yeah, man, we're patient. I think, we've tried this microwave thing for so long, ladies and gents, to be honest with you. And we see, it's okay what Cleveland did. It's okay to sprinkle a couple of vets with young players, and you could see how quickly you can make moves. We just got to put ourselves to become a more attractive situation. I think a lot's been said about free agents not wanting to come to New York because of the pressure. But if you really look at it, break it down, we're just not been really an attractive situation, right? Cap wise, with talent around them, what player wants to come to New York and be claimed the savior, right? I guarantee you, players will come if there's help, right? If there is help, players will come. Maybe Julius isn't a player that a lot of players might want to come to play with, like the Mitchells, Donovan Mitchells, Luka, Zion. But if we make ourselves a more younger, attractive team, wait till our young studs really make a move, and then we can sprinkle these studs on top with maybe Zion. We go all in on Cat or someone just to finish it off with. That's the play for us right now. We just got to continue to make ourselves a more attractive situation right now. They got too obsessed with the situation last season with the 4th seed, in the pandemic. And I agree with you on that one. Deuce was one of the biggest steals, of the draft, considering where we drafted him. He plays with heart. He's got that mentality. He plays with hustle. Um, he's going to be a keeper for New York and the New York Knicks. He's a player that knows how to rep the city, right? He's got that fire. He goes to the G League and he takes it like a chip on his shoulder, right? And he puts up 30 and, or 16 and 16. And salute Tay. It's one mind-boggling thing after another. We need a defensive-minded scoring point guard, um, and we have exactly that in Deuce, and yet we send him to the G League again. And what's wild with that too, ladies and gents, is that he was a Tom Thibodeau, selection. Deuce McBride has been a Tom Thibodeau dude from the get-go. But why is he forced to play Kemba? We know Tibbs is on record. He does not like Kemba. He was the main dude that took Kemba out of the rotation. So the question is, who's forcing Tibbs to play Kemba right now? We know it ain't Tibbs' decision. to play Kemba if we connect the dots. So someone else is, I don't know, someone's causing a glitch in this matrix right now. We need to reset this thing and reboot it, right? There's just too many cooks in the kitchen. And again, I quote, um, is it Jeff Van Gundy? That's the definition of insanity. You're seeing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Yep. That's what we've been doing with this franchise, not just this season right now. We need to reset this thing and build the right way. And fluke last season, bubble year. Yep. It's looking that way indeed. But also, some other variations. The East, the NBA got better. The chemistry, we lost chemistry. Like Evan Fournier is a more talented player than Reggie Bullock. We know that on paper. Kemba Walker is a much more talented player than Elfrid Payton. There's no arguing that. But what no one's wanting to argue is we lost chemistry, right? Julius Randle, he believed in his friends, his brothers, Reggie and Payton, right? He'd walk off a ledge for them, and we saw the chemistry, the hugging, the dapping with Reggie last season. Those two were tight. And you bring in dudes that you don't respect in Kemba and Fournier, and you get a disengaged Randall now. So this front office is culpable for messing with the chemistry, and not getting the right dudes. And Bonson, to be honest, Julius knew he could not duplicate what he did. Yeah, and the smart thing was to take the guaranteed bread, and we did him a favor as well. Yeah, it's all come to fruition, hasn't it? And Duras covert ops, misdirection, chill. It's a 2-year plan as well. We just want to see the front office speak as well. And the season's a wash. Let's pivot to prioritizing minutes with these young players and salute Solfinger number 12. This off season, the front office built this team to beat ATL and not to compete with the NBA. Yeah, they did overread the situation, Solfinger as well, in terms of getting obsessed with beating the ATL. Um, offensive-minded guys that could keep Trae Young accountable. Um, Nerlens Noel, that was a sus signing. That was suspect. The money invested. I'll tell you what, where they saved themselves was the deal, the number of deals, the years, right? To get Burks on the second year deal only, Kemba second year, Fournier, thankfully the third year only, not the fourth. They saved their ass with that, absolutely. And Duras is believing in the situation, trust the process, keep calm, and see what happens. And like Solfinger says, salute to the chat, the best chat in the business. You guys keep it buzzing. Appreciate the love, and please smash the like button for Knicks Buzz. Appreciate you all, and we got to play them to get the value up. Yeah, that's true too. That was the problem before the trade deadline too. We got to keep things like, and we don't want to look like we're a too much of a locker room malcontent, in a locker room situation around the league. Right, we've been out of the back pages for a while. I think Tom Thibodeau's trying his best to keep the locker room happy in terms of playing the vets, right, and what it might look like. We saw Kemba Walker act up, when he was taken out. G Money, people say we beat great teams, but it isn't true. We are 9-22 against teams 500 or better. We don't match with the Heat, the Sixers, Nets, Mavs, when healthy, and etc. Yeah, a lot of wins. A lot of wins weren't, were probably come from behind wins as well. And a lot of unconvincing wins this season. Yep, you guys are on fire. Tibbs called for a challenge, forgetting that he used the challenge already. Yep. That how he's on the hot seat. He's under pressure right now, ladies and gents. And be civilized. To be honest, Kemba and Evan is not better than Elfrid and R&B on the defensive end of the floor, and that's where we lack the most ball stoppers at the point. Yeah, in the small forward spot as well. Yeah, I've been spitting that as well this season. In terms of like we saw tonight with the reliance on RJ Barrett. Like when RJ's out of the squad, we don't just lose another go-to dude on offense. We lose arguably the best perimeter defender that this roster has so far. And I said that preseason. I was spitting this earlier this season that we don't have enough perimeter defenders. Quentin Grimes and RJ is nice, but we need more. We needed more, and Alfred Payton was, Reggie Bullock was certainly key for us last season as well. And G Money, if the Nets were healthy, we probably would have gotten destroyed. Yeah, absolutely. And what's frustrating is I'm seeing teams that have success with vets, but they also have better young players than us too, right? And they have young players that look promising, whereas our young players they're not even getting an opportunity to shine. You know, so we're just still not being run, I think, by the right way an organization needs to be run. Um, we're trying to do too many things at once, and it's not meshing. And D Grant, salute. I blame the loss on Tibbs. He did not make any adjustments, and he is too stubborn as a coach. His method, his method, those won't work in today's NBA. Yet he is stubborn. That's his biggest knock. Tom Thibodeau, he's not open to adjusting. Um, he's relying on things that he feels like will help him win based on previous experiences, but they're experiences that haven't, um, you know, factored in maturation in time. You know what I mean? The league's a different situation than what it was, 5, 10, 15 years ago, right? And that's what you get with a basketball lifer. You got to be innovative. You got to be willing to look at things, adjust. Um, see things from a open-minded perspective, right? So, do you guys feel like Johnny Bryant, a young coach like Stackhouse, or Johnny Bryant, someone like that, or maybe an experienced coach that can relate to young players like Woody, maybe Patrick Ewing, you know, does Patrick Ewing find his way back home, to coach this franchise, right? So, however long Tibbs is here, he's going to be fired at some point. Coach has been hired to be fired. Who is the next coach? You guys tell me. Who's going to be the next coach to come up in here? Yeah, and Bonson, yeah, exactly. Tibbs is too loyal to his guys. Do you think he's not playing deuce because he wants to protect IQ, who is being groomed to be a point guard? Um, I just think, yeah, he's trusting in IQ so much from last season that it's to a fault. Yeah, he's reading way too much into last season, right? Every single NBA season has a mind of its own. You can't read too much into last season, the season before that. You got to look to the future right now and what a player is doing right now, because you're hurting their confidence. You're hurting everything about them right now, right? It's all good to believe in a player, but sometimes it can be to a fault, you know. And yeah, the Knicks overpaid all those vets and killed cap space. Like I said, we're just lucky that some of these moves are flippable. You know what I mean? They weren't flippable at the deadline, but it's going to be interesting to see. And one potential issue I see coming up too, guys, is that let's say we do play all the young players right now. What's that going to mean for the value of these vets in the summer when these guys are going to be trying to trade these vets in the summer? Yeah, if they bench them significantly now, that's just going to kill all trade value completely. Um, but having said that, playing them is not helping the contract value either, right? Playing Evan Fournier and all these dudes minutes, Kemba Walker to lose, to capitulate, that's making things even worse. And Soulfinger, the blame is 60% front office, 40% Tibbs. Tired of the retread coaches like Tibbs, yeah, that continue to get jobs as well. No doubt, Soulfinger was buddy connection that got Tibbs the role, and dare I say, this will be Tibbs's last head coaching job in the NBA. I don't see any other, given the way this situation is inevitably going to end. I don't see Tibbs finishing 5 years here at his age, this situation where we're at, at a fork in the road. And I don't think at his age, another NBA franchise, the way the NBA is going, I don't think Tom Thibodeau is ever going to get another head coaching job, which sucks. It's sad for Tibbs. He's done some good things in his career, but at least he can retire as a head coach with the beloved franchise that he wanted to coach. He had a chance to coach the Knicks. He always wanted to be the head coach of us. You know, last season, you look fondly on that, but this situation, it's going the other direction. And D Grant, Knicks need to hire, in my opinion, Kenny Atkinson. That's interesting too. Where is Kenny Atkinson right now? Do you guys know? Um, is he an assistant with a team? Is Kenny Atkinson just chilling, trying to wait for his next job? Because the way he got stooged with Brooklyn, he's going to get another job soon. And B, civilized facts. Noel is still AWOL. We got straight led amok, bamboozled, led astray by that contract as well, right? And how's his legal dispute going with Rich Paul still as well? Um, and Duras, the Zion train is coming. Yep, look out for that. The steam to pick up. Zion Williamson with Cam Reddish and RJ Star J Barrett. Let's see whose voice comes in terms of captures Dolan's ear, right? Because I don't think Leon's going to fire Tibbs, right? So you got to look one step higher. If Leon ain't going to fire Tibbs, who's going to be the one to tell Leon you got to do something, or tell Leon here are your papers, right? And we all know Isaiah Thomas has James Dolan's ear still. Who else has James Dolan's ear? Is it Allen Houston? Is it Kenny Payne? Is it Worldwide West? Is it someone that's ready to stick the knife in someone's back? Because that's generally what happens, ladies and gents. When there's too many cooks in a kitchen, someone's going to get the knife shoved in their back. Because, like I said, these guys are just way too stubborn, right? It's a family affair, and they're letting this thing rot in terms of if they want to let Tibbs stick around, it's going to be interesting to see. Solfinger looks like Zion going to have a second surgery on that foot. Man, that'd be crazy. That'd be sad. Could it be an unfulfilled potential with Zion? Let's see. I'm scared to even entertain that right now. I just, like I said, I want to see us hit the reset button, build this thing organically, and when the time is right. See, we're already ready to make that next move when the time ain't right yet. Like signing Tom Thibodeau, we weren't on the right timeline. Trying to push for the next big dude to rescue this thing. We just need to hit reset, draft a couple more dudes around RJ, let him lead this franchise for a couple of seasons, and then see where everyone's at to sprinkle on that stud to get us where we need to get to. And I salute Denny's mind. The Knicks need to keep on losing. It's funny how failure is one step closer to success as well. Yeah, you summed it up, but I don't really see it as even failure. Losing some games, this season's a wash in terms of the Knicks were never going to make big noise in the playoffs, and we're never going to win the chip. So what people's subjectiveness in terms of what's a failure, some people don't want to see us lose games, but to me, as long as the players are growing, the skills are growing, they're improving, the teams, subtly growing in terms of confidence and skill set, the young players, that's not a failure to me at all. If we lose some games, X's and O's wise, it's box score, it's failure. But you, this NBA, it's hardest league in the world to win. I think the hardest sports league because 30 teams, 82 games, 7-game playoff series to get to that Larry O'Brien, right? All things got to shake loose, right? 5 players on the court at once, right? You need studs, you need superstars to carry you. Yeah, and that situation's difficult. So, in terms of you know, tanking and that, it's to build the situation to where it's right at the right time, peaking at the right time. I guarantee you, like the way Cleveland's building, the way Detroit's slowly cooking, OKC, they're going to reach the top of the mountain at some point. Yeah, it's only a matter of time. Smart asset management, all of that, right? And salute Bonson and the chat. You guys keep this thing buzzing. I appreciate all the insight, the knowledge, the insight, the takes, the passion, and the love. You guys keep it buzzing, and smash that like button for your boy. And without D Rose last year, Tibbs is not coach of the year. Yeah, I can't disagree with that too. D Rose has been our most important player. Was his first or second most important player. Absolutely, I agree. And Bonson, it's a dream, but I would still want MJ, Mark Jackson as well. would they be willing to go that route again? A dude with New York ties. Like I said, Bonson, the next dude to take over from Tibbs, it's going to be with a long-term plan. It's going to be someone who can sell James Dolan on something, because what's crazy, the biggest craziest thing about this is this Leon Rose Wild West experiment, I'll call it. That was a reset in James Dolan's eyes. That was trying something new, innovative. Signing an agent as a president, former agent. Right now, we may need a reset experiment for the experiment. It's craziness. Does James Dolan just say, "Hey, let me go back to, I tried Phil, that didn't work out. I tried this experiment with agents, that didn't work out. Do I need to go back to a more experienced dude? Do I need to get into bed with a Messiah Ujiri, who I have a relationship with? Do I need to consult Isaiah Thomas? You know, do I give a Nick Slifer, Alan Houston a gig? Give him a chance. Do I trust that Johnny Bryan or someone else can get us there with his connections? It's craziness right now. And for all the heat James Dolan gets, right? He's willing to spend money. His biggest knock is he knows nothing about basketball, and he can get involved sometimes too much, right? He can get too passionate with this thing. But where James Dolan doesn't lack is the fact that James Dolan spends money. He's willing, whoever can convince James Dolan to do something, he'll do it, right? He's not cheap, and he's tried all sorts of different things, right? He stayed loyal to Isaiah. He tried Phil Jackson, one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. He said, "What's your price?" And he was willing to pay Phil Jack 60 mil. Then he's gone back the other way and he's given Leon Rose and CAA a chance again. Like, what's next? Like, it's just it's craziness. You know, I'd be surprised if he cut ties with the whole CAA. That's going to be interesting. He's had that relationship for decades and decades. So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with this, man. It's anyone's guess. And you co-sign Mark Jackson as well, and promote Alan Houston as well. Yeah, Alan Houston's around still for a reason. They whatever their plan is for Alan, they're grooming him. They're going to wait for the times right, and I think Alan will get his chance at some point. Right, he's still a young man. Yeah, Alan Houston is still in his Alan would be in his 40s, I think, maybe early 50s, still a young man. And that situation, he's been given a chance with Westchester as well. But yeah, this is crazy right now. You guys, keeping this thing rolling, appreciate it. Let's get it. Ronnie, St. Fleur, salute. Need to fire Tibbs right now. Certain things are just unacceptable. Play the kids now and see their potentials. This coach is too conservative and non-creative. Yeah, for today's NBA. Yeah, you hit the money there, Ronnie. In terms of the conservativeness and non-creativeness as well, right? You got to be flexible in today's NBA. Um, you know, and he's got some assistants that weren't his hire as well. So you got to feel like he's worried potentially. When the knives may come out. Every coach knows they're hired to be fired, and it's just stubbornness right now. And maybe he has a little bit too much leniency with the front office as well. Let's pretend the president wasn't Leon's friend. Wasn't Leon's connection you know, Tibbs's connection with Leon. Maybe Tibbs wouldn't have felt this kind of uh, comfort and security than what he's really deserving right now. But he's being stubborn. I think Tibbs is the kind of coach that will just go down on his sword. Coach in the ways that he's always known. At 64 years of age, he believes what will help him win. It's always been that way, and it's not going to change right now until the chair's pulled from underneath him as well. So it's a situation that bears watching. But if anything, right, these last three losses, the last week, it's been a complete disaster from what we'd hoped this season to be. And it's also a situation now that's bubbling. It's bubbling at the surface in terms of getting closer to making a bigger direction decision on where we're going, because at this point in time, right, we're ways off building a sustainable platform to win. And how do we do that? Through our strength, which is the draft. We've shown competency in maneuvering draft night, identifying talent. The Knicks wanted to move up for Chris Duarte. Certain dudes that are looking good so far this season. I believe in Walt Perrin. Leading the draft as well. He's a serious scout, a basketball mind. He's a proven track record. Does Walt Perrin? I believe in that. If anything, if this club has any strength right now, it's drafting. And we can't get meetings in free agency. Dudes aren't wanting to meet with us. Um, pie in the sky type stuff. We just need to keep building our connections up, and that is with either with Kentucky, Cam Reddish, potentially the Zion thing, the New York connection with Donovan Mitchell, just being patient, right? Not trying to microwave this situation right now, because that's just what continues to get us in this mess. Facts. We're stuck in this mess right now, and it's a situation that's just not helping us get to where we need to go. You know, for the future. So you guys throw me your suggestions right now. We're all about the reset button. You tell me, how do we proceed as an organization to get to where we need to go quicker? Um, you know, are you guys ready to pull the chair under Tibbs and this front office regime? Right? Are you willing to give them more of a chance? And Duras, only one direction left to go. Can't get any lower. Yep. So we can't get any lower. Duras confident we can get back up and and rectify this thing. And Kenny Payne probably going to coach Louisville. Yeah, that's another situation bubbling, fam. That's facts. That'd be another loss. We lost Mike Woodson in the front office. He had in the in the coaching staff. Mike Woody Woodson had some solid connections with this team and was well respected. Um, Kenny Payne, he's worked hard with some of the talent. We're yet to see some of the fruition yet, but maybe he's worked well with Mitch. Mitch has made some strides, but yeah, if Kenny Payne moved on, that'd be real interesting. For me, I'd be willing to give the next coach, a young unproven coach, a chance. A former player though, a former player that has that pedigree, pedigree in that respect, but can also relate to young players as well, right? Let's match our front office and our coaching staff with a younger minded roster. And Manchild says, "What happened to New York? We hear." uh, yeah, it quickly faded away, didn't it? And fam, Dolan will force Leon to fire Tibbs during the 2022-23 season. So, yep, that's a solid prediction, fam. I could see that. Um, I think, yeah, his days are numbered, right? His age, the roster, things just aren't matching up right now. They're just not. Denny's mine. We should first fire Tibbs, then bring in a coach Z from Duke. RJ, Cam, and Zion would flourish as well. Yeah, that's something to watch, right? Too. Um, Cam, is he going to stick around? That's another situation. We need to see Cam play more minutes. Absolutely. And yeah, like a Monty as well. Yep, that kind of mindset. And we don't know who was second, out of the coaching search after Tibbs was hired. There was a lot of coaches interviewed. The New York Knicks said they did a thorough connection, a search, and we ended up at Tibbs. But who's next in mine? And we are here, rock bottom. Yeah, good. We can find some humor in this thing, man, because again, I'm not as invested in the rest of this season in terms of wins and losses. And but tonight was just abysmal, embarrassing, disgusting, all the words you want to use, right? The talk back's going to be on fire tomorrow throughout the All-Star break. James Dolan's fed up. Would not be shocked, right? We've been following the Knicks a minute now. Would not be shocked, right, if moves happen, right? This is the New York Knicks. We just don't know. Anything could happen. But there's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of buzz. The seats are getting warm. Rest assured. And Manchild says, Is Tibbs the oldest coach in the league? No, I think Greg Pop. I think Greg Popovich would definitely be the oldest coach, but he's probably not going to be around much longer. Um, who else is pretty old? What's his name? Out in Sacramento, is that Gentry, Alvin Gentry? I think he's pretty old as well. And Solfinger. If we let both Cam and Mitch go, this front office needs to be blown up. Gave away cash to vets who shouldn't have been let go as well. Yeah, I think, yeah, Solfinger, they wanted to trade as many vets as they could. They just were too worried about the return and what that may make them look like. Again, they're making scared moves right now. They're worried for their jobs, and that when coaches and front offices are worried about their jobs, they do things counterproductive to the process. The organic process of growing. Right, like I said, there's no fear of losing when you bring in a coach to develop, and build through the draft, as long as you see the players incrementally improve. But when you hire a front office and a coaching staff that are hired to get you wins, and the wins don't come, that's when they start to act scared. And yeah, something was buzzing. Dolan was at the game, absolutely. Not only that, he left his seat again and did not return to his seat. So keep an eye out on the back pages tomorrow, the New York Post, New York Daily News. There's going to be a lot of buzz and going to be a couple of stories, I think, from what's going on. Right, we'll hear some buzz, some scuttle about um, Dolan unhappy. This dude's unhappy with this dude. Watch out for this potentially if the losing continues, right? Because let's just look at this game tonight alone. Isolated incident. This was against the Brooklyn Nets, right? This is this is what gets James Dolan up at night, right? This is what gets James Dolan juiced, right? The team across the river, you know, the blueprint for greatness. Um, out there, they stole KD and Kyrie from our plans, supposedly. They made the big splash at trade deadline, getting Ben Simmons. Um, you know, all of that mess to blow up tonight against Brooklyn, man, that is going to get James Dolan infuriated, right? He is asking questions, I think, no doubt, and it's going to be, heads could roll soon. Heads could roll, and yeah, appreciate that, fam. I didn't know Stephen A. Always roasting, toasting, but he went in supposedly on national TV after the game, so he should have. It was an absolute disgrace. Um, led astray, run amok, bamboozled, right? The fans. Um, to be honest, when I glanced at the box score and the Knicks were up 25, I wasn't like, oh man, we're gonna continue this and run away with the game. I was like, okay, let me see what plays out. And when I peeped it again and Brooklyn came back, I was not surprised at all. I was not surprised. Again, Tibbs is wearing out this roster. He's wearing out the vets and not playing the bench enough. That's another issue with Tibbs, right? 9 men rotations throughout the regular season, constantly, not willing to sprinkle in any younger players either. Um, what do you guys think of that? The fact that we're supposed to be a big 15, we have young players, we have a deeper bench, we're not going to them, right? So it's yeah, it's a situation that's messy right now. It's crazy right now, but sometimes you have to go through these moments, this losing, to get to where you need to be, right? I always say things play out organically the way they're supposed to, right? The Knicks, they're not making the playoffs this season. They might scratch and claw the play in, the 10th seed. They're about 3-4 games out of 10 as well. If Tibbs continues to push these vets, I still don't even think they can get us there. To be honest with you, I mean we're losing games with the vets. We're capitulating, you know, capitulating leads. Like the morale. Think of the morale. What that's going to be like in the locker room right now. It's got to be a hot mess right now. And I think after this, my prediction is after this um, All-Star break is that we'll draw a line in the sand and we'll pivot. we'll pivot towards at least shortening, maybe not ostracizing all of the vets, but we'll pivot towards minutes and just start cutting, minutes down, like, Evan Fournier down to 25 minutes. Kemba Walker hopefully out of the rotation. I do not want to see Kemba Walker in the rotation anymore. Who cares if he acts up, sits on the bench pouting? Just waive him, just buy him out. Let another team help him out. And compete. And yeah, short rotations are for winning teams. Yeah, that are contenders as well. Yep, exactly right, 100%. Yeah, the vets are the ones blowing the games. So that's crazy. If they want to continue, what Tibbs thinks is helping him try to push for the 10th seed is actually not. If we were playing Deuce heavy minutes, Grimes heavy minutes, all of the like, we might even have won a couple of these games as well. So it's crazy to think. So yeah, I guess if you are on the tanking train, then you should probably hope we continue to play these dudes. But the schedule's tough anyway. So yeah, that the situation absolutely bears watching right now. But yeah, the what I want to see happen too with the rotation is Kemba Walker completely taken out, out of the rotation. That's a no-brainer for me, ladies and gents. Um, Play Jericho Sims a bit. If Nerlens Noel comes good, don't even play him. Just don't even play Nerlens Noel. He's a $10 million expiring next season. Uh, Grimes, salute to Grimes. Shout out to Grimes for what he's doing this season. Great work. A piece for the future. Sprinkle in Deuce McBride ASAP as well. Get him out the G League. Start playing him 20 minutes per night as well. Put the ball in his hands. See what he can do. Reduce Alec Burks's minutes. That's what I would do ASAP. Reduce Fournier's minutes, like I said, and continue with that. Keep playing Mitch. Obviously, keep building Mitch's trade value up with that situation. Yeah, you guys tell me what you would do straight away with this rotation straight after the All-Star break. Yeah, brother says exactly. Don't forget what 10 games looks like if the Knicks will never make it to the play-in tournament or never get to the draft lottery. And yeah, I don't expect any wins in these upcoming games. Yeah, it's brutal, right? Especially with the they came out clearly fired up tonight, after the two bad losses to OKC and Portland, but they choked, right? They absolutely choked. And think about what it's going to be like now with morale, trying to come out and try to trot out this same lineup after the All-Star break, after this embarrassment on national TV, right? They absolutely got called out tonight. And I haven't watched the press conferences after the game. I can't wait to see what Tibbs said or if anyone spoke. You guys let me know if anyone spoke after tonight and what did they say on national TV. Soulfinger says, I knew we were give this game back. They started out hard fast, playing certain players off the bench 11 minutes and then running the starters to the ground, yet expecting a win. Tibbs is on dope or dog food. Straight facts. Salute P. Nice. Salute. What did you make of this embarrassment tonight? He says season's over and Tibbs will be removed as well. Yep. Jimmy D. Yep. Jimmy D's up in the air. He's got he's been his attention's been captured now. Whenever you get an embarrassing loss to Brooklyn like that on the Garden floor, right? Let me know if there were boos tonight too, fam. Chat. Was there any boos tonight? And Knicks have no leadership. Yeah, they've been lacking leadership from top to bottom. Front office has no leadership, not even speaking, right? Just losing people's respect. And Manchild D. Rose tore his ACL in garbage time back then in Chicago, yeah, because of Tibbs. And Tibbs said the same things he says every game. Okay, yeah, that's why I just stopped tuning in. I just can't take it anymore, to be honest with you. And I know some of our favorite beat writers ask some tough questions, but man, I wish some dude would just take the bull by the horn and just absolutely lay in. Just say, speak like us and say, we're not seeing no changes. What's the reasoning for continuing to trot this out? Just put them on blast. Like Big Shiesty says, salute Tibbs Dale. at the end of the day, they're just sealing their own fate. At the they're sealing their own fate because Jimmy D is just going to come down and cut them all off at the head. You know what I mean? Cut the head off the snake. Whoever it may be, force some maneuvering, right? This is one situation where I don't think fans would get upset if Jimmy D intervened again. You know what I mean? Because he stayed out the way for a hot minute. He stayed out the way. He's let these dudes slow cook, but the slow cooker hasn't even been turned on. They forgot to turn the switch on. The last 2 years are basically for nothing. We haven't prioritized development or youth, and we haven't been good enough to sign big free agents or move the needle. So where have we been? We've lost the last 2 years. We haven't really moved anywhere. We're on a vehicle with no engine. We're on a treadmill running up and down. That's all we're doing right now. We're just losing year after year. And P9 says Berman was 100% right as well. Um, did he ask something tonight? I haven't seen it. Or do you just mean in terms of the recent times? Um, recent times in terms of what Berman said? But let me know if something went down tonight. You know, he's certainly pushing some buttons with Julius and whatnot. Telling it like it is. And Fam says, yeah, he's not. He said he's not going to be just hand out minutes, and the minutes got to be earned. Oh man, minutes got to be earned, yeah, as well. I know, but sometimes these sophomores and rookies are better than some of these vets, you know. And Manchild likes Berman because he asks the question we fans want to hear as well. Absolutely, they're just doing their job, and I understand both sides. I understand fans that are fans of a team don't always want to see negativity, but they need to understand, by take their fan hat off, that these beat writers don't follow the team as a fan. They're just doing a job. Like they're just covering a team that they're not a fan of, and they've got to cover it subjectively. If things look sus, they'll call it out. If the team thrives and does well, they write certain stories. And like Fam says, your hamster wheel. How long has it been? Tell me how many years we've been on the hamster wheel. I lose track, because that's one of the reasons we've been bad for so long, is because we haven't picked a direction. We've just been running that wheel, hoping something will change, hoping we'll catch up to what's ahead of us, but we're continuously running on that wheel, and we're not getting any closer to that target. Right? We put all our eggs in the LeBron basket, we put all our eggs in the Melo basket, then we go all out for KD and Kyrie. That didn't work out. Now we're going to go all in on the Zion thing, and he'll probably blow his foot up again. We continuously go for the wrong plan, the pipe dream, the pie in the sky type thing, instead of just let a New York Knicks team build organically, right? Just let the young talent fall into place into this organization, like RJ Barrett fell into this situation, you know. And yeah, Berman's P Nice's guy. Facts, right? He's just a great all-round guy. I got to know him obviously off camera, and he just keeps it real. He likes the Knicks. He wants to see us happy. He wants to see the fans see something positive. Um, Mark only started covering the team in 1999, the year after we made the NBA Finals, and the Knicks have been bad ever since. So he's seen the downs, he's seen the up and then the downs since, and same as a lot of other writers start to call things out now too. Shout out to Stefan Bondi, keeps it real as well, and Manchild Dolan calling everyone for a meeting tomorrow as well. Yep, I could see that happening. That's the talk. That's the talk. Absolutely. Sitting there, you can't be too happy with what's going on at all, right? With these disgusting losses as well. And look, it's not easy eating more money as well. But since when has James Dolan been worried about money? Do you guys think, if there's one apprehension towards firing Tibbs or Leon, do you guys think it's going to be money for Dolan? I don't think so. I don't. He's been paying dudes already. You know, he paid Jeff Hornacek's bill. He paid Derek Fisher's bill. He paid the last dude's bill. I don't think it's anything to do with money. I think if he's not happy with the product, the situation, right? The Rangers are turning things around. I don't think he's happy that the New York Knicks still are unable to turn things around. And I don't know how happy he would have felt with the Julius Randle thumbs down ish situation going down, thumbs downing the customers and stuff. You know what I mean? Causing a ruckus, causing a disruption up in here. We've been harmonious for a few seasons now, right? Fourth seed, all of that. Would James Dolan be happy with this capitulation right now? He's paying Worldwide Waste, how much money? He's paying Leon Froze how much money? Tom Tibbsdale, how much money, right? At some point, he's just going to have to eat the check again and get rid of some of these dudes, I reckon. And P. Nice says Tibbs will be moved to the front office. Okay. Hey, that'd be a wild scenario, man. Let's keep our eyes out for that. Yeah, money no issue. Money ain't a thing for James D. And I think he's more worried about, from all the talk, Dolan's more worried about public perception, PR and that. But if he sees the PR like us, he's watching our pods, he's hearing the stories. If he gets a word that the fan base would be okay with him intervening, hey, intervene. You know what I mean? He's the owner at the end of the day of this thing. You know, yeah, he's given this thing a chance to slow cook, right? He stayed out of the way with Phil, and he had to fire Phil because that was the necessary. And you know, he's laid back. He's let Leon and Tibbs and that do their thing. I think now's the time's right. It'd be okay to intervene for me. And Ronnie, you can't just keep repeating the same mistake and expect a different result. A coach is supposed to make corrections as you go. Blowing big leads 5 to 6 times consecutively the same way, yeah, is foolish, right? Facts, Ronnie, and not just for Tibbs. How many times have we said the same thing for other dudes, right? Um, that was the reason Fizdale was fired. That's the reason Fisher was fired. Hornacek through the triangle, just forcing their own agenda, not being flexible, right? Every person in their job or employee got to be flexible, right? Some businesses pivot, the customer to clientele pivots, sometimes you're in one situation like last season, the way the East was, and then we're in a situation the way we are right now where the East is. Yeah, we need to pivot, right? And salute Canal, salute everyone up in here strong after this loss, and the passion's just going to continue over the next week or so. This break with no games, right? The noise is going to be even louder, right? I think Tibbs and Leon that's going to have to get out of the city, turn their phone off. Otherwise, they're going to be called into a lot of meetings. This thing's going to be crazy. The back page is going to be going all in. If you don't think the daily news, the post, the pods, the social media, us fans, the voices of the people aren't going to get louder and louder with this situation. Because I think most people are okay with losing now for this season, but it's what's getting people angry is we're not picking a direction. We're losing, but by playing Kemba Walker and stuff, they've got no right to be taking up no one's minutes, for the future. And Canal says Tom in the front office gets us to keep Mitch because the nerds want to trade Mitch as well. Yep, that's valid. And now we have to overpay Mitch to keep him. He's built his trade value up. Straight facts. P. Nice. The front office worried about optics, so they won't fire Tibbs. They will move him here to another position as well. Yep. And salute to the chat. Hey, you guys are keeping this thing rolling. Appreciate all the love. Smash the like button for Nick's Buzz. And let's keep this thing rolling. Joseph, salute. This must sting to Dolan so bad. Lose to the crosstown rival in your own home court, national TV. Dolan left his seat before the end of the game, and he is itching. Yep. Like we've been saying, Joseph, if there's one thing that gets to James Dolan is that team across the river, and in the manner we lost, like you said, on national TV, tick all the boxes. This dude is on fire right now, and you just don't know. Unpredictable dude like Jimmy D, you know, with bottomless, with deep pockets, right? He might just like we all have impulse things that we do, right? He might just wake up and feel a certain type of way, right, and read the back pages and that, right, and see the embarrassment going on, right? KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons laughing in street clothes, right? You know, late first round, second round picks torching us in Cam Thomas and things like that, while our young studs are sitting there in street clothes. I mean, this is crazy. But the one thing is that if you connect the dots, is the CAA thing. You know, James Dolan's been in bed with CAA for decades. Would he be willing to pull the rug under this CAA reputation? Right? No, I don't know. Maybe, like you said, maybe he wants to keep Leon there, and Leon needs to pull the rug under Tibbs and move him upstairs. And salute Agent. I've been seeing you all over the place, Agent. Salute. Leon Rose and Tibbs are idiots throwing away their season because they lack a point guard. Hello, you have talent in Westchester right now. Yeah, it's unfathomable what's going down right now. Not as bad as previous regimes. Deuce is getting some burn with Westchester, but the issue is he needs to be getting burn with the big club right now. He needs to be playing. He needs to probably be starting. Kemba Walker has no right to be even in a New York Knicks uniform right now. You know, even in a warm up. I want Kemba Walker in street clothes. I don't want Kemba Walker wearing a New York Knicks attire at all. Right? Have him in street clothes and have him smiling there. Brother, besides the way we watched the Knicks fired 5 coaches, it makes really bad. But the good coach need to listen what the people has spoken. You know what that means? Streets are buzzing in New York. Oh yeah, the buzz, the speculation. I mean, this is the melting pot right now. We're the most valuable franchise in this league, right? We don't play games here right now. We boo, we keep it real, we keep it 100, healthy Knicks talk, and this is what we do, right? We don't accept mediocrity right now. We somehow made some moves, and we got we got Jimmy D to hire Phil Jackson because he was worried about public opinion. The same way we could get Jimmy D to make another move. I think, who knows what that move is, whether, maybe Allen Houston about to come in here and take everyone's job. Who knows, maybe he goes back to Steve Mills again. No, I'm just bugging. And yeah, like you said, Kemba should never have started at all. Right, the trade deadline been here and gone. Right, Kemba Walker should have been on the next thing smoking. Right, he should have been water boy for Deuce McBride right now. You know what I mean? Resting those knees for his future as a training coach. Kemba Walker can be that nice training coach vet that people respect. Right, but get him away from my team right now. And coach set Kemba up to fail. A bit of everything. I could see that, but a bit of everything. You know, like you said, yeah, he should never have been starting right now. Kemba Walker. I had issues at the very beginning with this whole Kemba Walker could only start or he doesn't play at all. Like where the hell did that thing come from right now? Right, Kemba Walker would have been nice as a 15-minute off the bench, 40 games ago. Right, we didn't need to continue to push him in the starting position. He flamed out with Boston because of his knees. OKC got the medical reports and they bought him out ASAP. Right, we're the only dumb franchise to welcome him as a marquee signing and throw him to the Wolves for 40 minutes a night so he can get one Eastern Conference Player of the Week, right? And have that on his resume, have that on a plaque on the wall, the Eastern Conference Player of the Week, and then we're set, right? And then keep playing him after the trade deadline so he can showcase his value at the wrong times. I mean, some of these decisions being made are ridiculous right now, you know. And one thing I'll salute Kemba for, if he hasn't asked for a buyout, I'll salute him. But that's silly. He should have been coming to the franchise saying, "Hey, please buy me out, so I could go to the Clippers, so I could go to Portland, So I could go to you know, a young team making a run, Cleveland, someone like he should have been asking for a buyout, should Kemba, and IQJ, salute, salute, salute. Um, we need to hit the reset button ASAP, right? And would James Dolan be the one that might hit the reset button? Would Leon be the dude that hits the reset button? And we talked about how many chefs in the kitchen, right? Things are getting crowded, right? You know what that means? Someone's head's about to be cut off. Someone's about to be backstabbed. There's always a scapegoat. You know what I mean? There's got to be a scapegoat for this losing, this situation, right? Whether it's the dude that made these signings, or the coach that ain't maximizing these signings, or the dude who hired the dude who hired everyone else. The dude was hired to bring connections in here that we haven't been able to bring in. You know, Someone's going to be a scapegoat up in here. And Joseph says, yeah, I've never seen a coach devalue veterans and young assets by minutes management overkill in one season. Vets look bad because they're gassed. Young players look bad because of limited minutes, yeah, and they're discontented, and also their confidence is lower. He's killed all their confidence. Facts. Yeah, Manchild. Fans should start to wear paper bags on their head again. Yeah, you know what? That'll happen. Uh, Rest assured, the chance. I don't know if the Garden crowd was kind tonight, but after the Blazers, OKC loss, the fans should have been calling people out tonight. Absolutely. And P Nice from Tibbs' dumb self, worst coach in the league right now. He's killing it all. He's killing the value. He's too stubborn. Again, hasn't learned a damn thing. Right. We hope Tom Thibodeau had learned a thing or two, but he hasn't learned a damn thing except the same ways to get fired, over and over and over. Basically, yeah, ladies and gents, right? So yeah, this is interesting. Like I said, I'm not too invested in the games now to come, but I'm more interested to see what the Knicks decide to do. I'm shifting all my eyes on the draft coverage tomorrow night. Shot quality comes on board, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Live stream. Jump in the chat. We'll talk about the March Madness prospects for Knicks fans to watch out for as well. Who are good fits for this team? What kind of area we might be selecting? Also, what their potential will be on this team, and preview the tourney as well. And of course, on a Friday night, got another guest coming up in here. You know who he is? None other than Ron Cleveland. Man. He's going to join me Friday night. Going to go all in. It's going to be the most epic call out for the ages with man. So join us Thursday night, Friday night. Draft coverage dropping over the weekend and early next week as well, with some draft junkies. So keep an eye out for that. We've got lots to talk about. We're not just going to stew on these losses and things like that. We've got to get somewhere at the end of the day. But yeah, you guys have been on fire. Appreciate all the love. Smash the like button for Nick's Buzz. And Agent Leon should send Tibbs to Westchester and bring up, Derek Elston. I've been hearing a lot about Derek. Let us know a bit more about him. Is he a dude to watch? Basically, and salute Manchild. Appreciate you stopping through. Be well, and we'll catch you on the next one. And asset management, fam. Obi fed up with his coach. He can't get more than 11 minutes right now. Tankathon. Let's get this thing rolling. Most teams ahead of the Knicks keep losing as well. Knicks could have been gaining ground, but of course we keep losing as well. Yeah, straight facts, right? We talked about playing these vets is actually helping us lose, which is crazy right now. But not overly crazy because they're not good vets. But it's funny and crazy to think that us playing the young players might actually have stole us a win or two. Instead of playing these other dudes. And we should have had a great tankathon run over the next 10 games. We should have, yeah. Yeah, facts, right? We'll be breaking it down more tomorrow and the weekend. But we're in ninth selection right now in tankathon. So that's crazy. We're almost selecting at where we've been selecting for the last few years, right? Around 8, you know. And of course, when we hit that simulation button, there's a chance we could pop up into the 4th spot. Um, some of my friends have popped the simulation on tonight and got us into 3rd seed as well. So imagine if the New York Knicks, if Lady Luck smiles on the New York Knicks this draft class, and gets us into the top 4 as well. We just need more of these losses, to keep piling up. And these other clubs have good young talent. Indy, they have Halliburton and Duarte running amok. Washington's still pushing it up there as well. So I don't really see our draft position getting any worse. Yeah, if anything, it's just going to possibly continue to improve as well. So stay tuned. Even if the Knicks want to hustle and string as many wins as possible, I don't think it's going to happen because the schedule is straight brutal right now. And you know, if we continue to trot out the same things, Tibbs has lost the locker room, I think, and they're not going to play any harder for him either way. It's going to be a situation where we're just going to lose probably majority of the upcoming games. But there's a lot of positives to still come. We want to see RJ come back healthy. Finish the season strong. Finish a 3rd season for RJ strong. We want to see Cam Reddish and Quentin Grimes. Continue to show what they can do. Put them in positions. But I'm not confident the coach is going to really put them in positions, and give them heavy minutes. Like, yeah, at this stage of the season, Cam Reddish is a dude that you just need to play 35 minutes and just see what he can do, handle the rock, experiment, do whatever. We're going to lose games either way right now. Alec Burks, Fournier, Kemba Walker, Nerlens Noel. It's time for, if he hasn't already, Leon Rose to let Tibbs know, hey, my plan is to move as many of these dudes as I can in the summer. So don't worry about cohesion with them. Don't worry about trying to win with them, trying to improve their confidence and things like that. Right now, like this is a fate that's been sealed for these players. Like we've said tonight, I wouldn't, if Evan Fournier can't really be moved without attaching an asset, I'd be okay with just keeping Fournier around, keep that contract because it will be an expiring 19 mil after one more year. And Evan Fournier is not a bad locker room guy. You could still score, fill it up. But Alec Burks, bless him. Kemba Walker, bless him. Nerlens Noel, bless him. Get them up out of here. Get what you can for them in the summer. They're shorter term deals and they're also cheaper deals that you should be able to move from. Kemba you could buy out today, and Nerlens and Kemba, no Nerlens, sorry, and Alec Burks. You should be able to flip them on draft night. I think you should be able to flip them from draft night. And yeah, P Nice says went from number 1 to 13 real fast. Yeah, look, it's crazy right now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the news comes out, the wash up from these bad losses. Yeah, the bad chemistry as well. That's been another issue. Um, the New York Knicks moved on from marginal talent, but it was a mess up of the chemistry. The chemistry we had last season, and we just brought in offensive minded dudes. And look, to be honest, Kemba Walker's a really good guy. He's a solid dude around the locker room and stuff. But where his mind thinks he's at as a player still to where his body's at, that's detrimental to a team, right? You need to accept, when you're 31, 32 years old and your game ain't the same no more. You know, don't just be walking around thinking that the team's doing you dirty or something like that. Um, Kemba Walker can still help a team. He can still score. He can't defend for a lick, but he can still help a team. But he's nowhere near the player he was. He needs to accept that, accept a bench role. Go to Memphis, go to somewhere like Cleveland, go somewhere where he can try and compete. And help a team. Because this whole notion that he can only start for us or he can't play at all is just messed up. Well, I don't even know who came up with that formula right now, because Kemba Walker should have been lighting it up off the bench, and that's it since 45 games ago, right? It was pretty clear that he wasn't a starting caliber point guard anymore, right? And he should have been moved on. And Joseph, yeah, Tibbs's first years with the Bulls and Wolves were spectacular because their legs were fresh. But by year 2 and 3, the high mileage show and the injuries regression. Now us, front office knew what they were sleeping with. Yeah, and there is, yeah, pointed out spot on the timeline of Tibbs's failures. The first year you overachieve, the second year the message wears thin, and the third year it blows up. Um, it seems like this time around, Joseph, chat, everyone, that the timeline's been fast tracked. I think it's borderline blowing up right now, um, with no help from the front office. Again, not putting it all on Tibbs. The front office definitely didn't help Tibbs. Not going to say they set him up for failure, because he's setting himself up for failure. But the front office didn't help him by the moves they made. They just weren't, they weren't productive to what Tibbs stands for in terms of players that he needs as well. And the other thing is, if Tibbs doesn't want to play the vets too, if Tibbs doesn't want to play rookies, why did the New York Knicks draft 4 players in the last draft? That is something that did surprise me. I was speculating all last season on all the pods, all the shows, that the Knicks had 4 selections and that they wouldn't make 4 picks, but they still picked all 4 players: Grimes, Rokas, McBride, and Sims. I know Rokas isn't with the team, but yeah, they still made that selection. So that's 4 rookies that need development, need minutes, need time to even become an asset. And this roster just wasn't at that point right now. And I know they tried to move up to get Chris Duarte. That didn't work out. They flipped the Charlotte pick for a future selection, which got us Cam Reddish, another young player that they're not willing to play. So it's on the front office and it's on everybody. They're not on the same page. Is Leon and Tibbs right now. You got West pushing for certain things. Scott Perry wanted DeRozan, didn't get listened to, right? We have a GM that doesn't get listened to. We have other dudes that just former agents that pound their hand on the table and say, "Get me this dude." Then Leon has to make a decision, right? This whole thing is just a mess, right? And they're all laying in it, right? This thing is just going to blow up in their face because they caused this situation right now, this dumpster fire that we're living in. They created it for themselves right now. And of course, James Dolan's answering. He's asking hard questions that they're going to have to answer right now. And like, Joseph says, we touched on before, unbelievably, Rosas now, another consultant in the kitchen right now. It seems like we're all consultants. Why don't they just consult us, the fans, you know, instead of paying $60 million all the time to these consultants and whatnot? You know what I mean? It's just more hands in the cookie jar. But I will say, I believe this Rosas thing, there's more to it. I will say, I think there's smoke to this fire with the Rosas thing. I think, they don't just make that announcement just before the trade deadline. I think it was a move forced on them. And I think it was a potential dude as a fallback plan as well. We know the World Wide West is just a consultant as well. He's not going to be able to take over Leon's job. But if Leon Rose needs to go, who's going to be able to take that job? A dude like Rosas, who's already experienced, in that same position as well. Interestingly, he had issues in the workplace as well. That's another situation that's out there. So yeah, more cooks in the kitchen to deal with, and they can't even get a basic meal right. So yeah, let's see what happens. It's been some crazy losses in the Mecca, on the road as well. They're inventing new ways to lose a game, which I've never seen before in my life. As a 30-year Knick fan, I'm seeing new ways this team's losing games. Uh, Tibbs pushing for certain things. The locker room, things are about to change, I feel. We've got the All-Star break. Like I said, plenty of coverage coming up tomorrow night, Friday night. Keep it on lock. I appreciate every single one of you, all the love. Keep the likes popping for Nick's buzz, and we'll keep this thing rolling into the weekend. And yeah, we'll continue to talk about it. But I appreciate everyone's fire and desire. Appreciate your insight and passion. Let's keep the streets buzzing. And we wrap up this show A salute to everyone in the chat. Salute to you. You guys are the best. Reason why we're the best fan base in the world. You're the best chat in the business as well. Look forward to chopping it up more, and we'll see you all soon. Yeah, everyone watching as well on replay. Jump in the comment section. Continue the convo, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night, Friday night, 5 p.m. live stream. We'll talk about the March Madness prospects to watch for the Knicks to keep an eye on. If you haven't really watched much college ball, we'll talk about the names to look out for and the fits. We'll have advanced stats to break down as well. So we'll talk about it then. And peace. We'll catch you on the next one.